The first time I played No Man's Sky was in 2016 at a friend's house. After about an hour, I turned to him and said, "The game has a great idea, but it's not for me." I was being kind. He spent money on it. What I actually meant was, this is broken. After that, I didn't think about No Man's Sky for the next 6 years. In 2016, No Man's Sky was the most hated game on the internet. By 2026, I have played every single update and expedition since the Waypoint update. I visited hundreds of planets, built over 100 bases, played through multiple saves, and I'm not stopping unless the servers shut down for good. So the question this video is really about is not, is No Man's Sky good now? The real questions are, how does a game that broke everyone's trust earn it back over 10 years? And what does your answer say about how you trust the developers? August 2016. No Man's Sky launches on Steam to 212,000 concurrent players. 6 weeks later, barely 2,100 people are still playing. Here is what happened. Sean Murray, the founder of Hello Games, has spent 3 years showing demos that promised a universe of genuine discovery. Multiplayer that lets you meet other people, stunning visuals, a depth of gameplay that simply did not exist in code. The community amplified it further by spreading rumors about base building and animal taming that were never officially promised but somehow became expected. The hype spiraled so far out of control that when the game was delayed from June to August 2016, Murray and the journalists covering the delay received death threats. And then the game launched, and it was an absolute tragedy. Bugs, constant crashes, frame rate drops. The visuals that looked incredible in trailers were grotesque in the final version. The multiplayer that was so sold as the central part of the experience did not exist. One player reached the center of the galaxy in just 30 hours, destroying the idea that it would be an infinite game. The backlash was devastating. Murray was called a liar and a deceiver across every platform. Scores plummeted, refunds broke records. No Man's Sky became synonymous with disappointment, a case study in how unchecked hype combined with irresponsible marketing can destroy a studio's reputation overnight. Then Hello Games went silent. For months, nothing. No PR spin, no damage control, no roadmap promises. Just silence. And somewhere in that silence, something started to change. Now, let me be specific about what was missing. We were promised a universe where every planet was unique, with ecosystems, creatures, and geology generated by math so complex that even the developers couldn't predict what you would find. You were promised multiplayer encounters so rare that would feel almost mythical. You were promised a living, breathing galaxy. What was shipped was a universe that was technically large, but mechanically shallow. Planets that felt like palette swap versions of the same handful of templates, creatures assembled from a parts catalog that ran out of combinations faster than anyone expected, and that multiplayer where two people famously stood on the same planet at the same time and could not see each other became the defining image of everything that went wrong. But here's the thing I've come to believe after 10 years of watching this story play out. The promise itself was not the problem. The problem was that Hello Games shipped a skeleton and called it a body. The bones of something extraordinary were there. The procedural generation, the seamless planet-to-space transitions, the color palette, the ambition. You could see what they were trying to build. It just wasn't built yet. And that distinction between a bad idea and an unfinished one is where the story actually lives. The question after 2016 wasn't, can Hello Games finish the game? The question was, is anyone still working on it? 3 months after the launch, with everybody assuming that the studio took the money and disappeared, Hello Games released the Foundation update. Base building, new game modes, the first signal that they hadn't abandoned the game or the players who stayed. Then Pathfinder, Atlas Rises, and in 2018, No Man's Sky Next was released. The real turning point. Full multiplayer, third-person mode, a visual overhaul, character customization. This was the update where people started to admit, cautiously, that No Man's Sky might actually become what was promised. Since launch, Hello Games has released over 45 named updates. Every single one was free. No season pass, no paid DLC, no microtransactions. No loot boxes. The studio that was accused of stealing people's money spent 10 years giving away content. This is not normal. This is frankly unprecedented in modern gaming. Most studios respond to a disastrous launch in one of two ways. They either abandon the game and move on, or they apologize, release a few patches, and call it redemption. Hello Games chose a third path. They went silent. and they kept building, and they let the updates speak for themselves. Now, I need to tell you what No Man's Sky still does not get right. The onboarding doesn't tell you what kind of game No Man's Sky actually is. You start on a hostile planet, you fix your ship, you fly into space, and then the galaxy opens up and says nothing. No clear direction, no signal about whether you're here for the story, the base building, the exploration, or something else entirely. The story, when you find it, is generally philosophical and cerebral, but the narrative is thin. The world is extraordinary, but the reason to care about it still has to come from you. If you're someone who needs the game to tell you why you should care about it, No Man's Sky will lose you. Then you have the different systems that do not fully connect to each other, which can make the experience feel fragmented. Base building here, expeditions there, freighter management over here. Each one of them is good in isolation, but the threads between them are still being stitched. I say this not to tear the game down, but because the comeback means more when you acknowledge that the work isn't finished. Hello Games hasn't stopped updating this game in 10 years, and they still have not run out of things to fix. This is not a weakness, this is the entire argument. So if the game still has gaps, why have I played it for 4 years straight without stopping? Let me tell you about the moment I stopped evaluating No Man's Sky and started living in it. I was on a gas giant, one of the new biomes from Worlds Part 2 update. The environment was not something I expected. I had no objective, no mission marker, nothing to optimize. I was just there, walking across a world that no developer handcrafted, that no other player had ever set foot on. Generated by math so complex, it felt like someone had dreamt it into existence. And then I realized I felt something I hadn't felt in a video game in years. Peace. This is what I love most about No Man's Sky, and it's the thing review scores can't measure. You come home from work after a day that made you want to quit your job several times, you load up No Man's Sky, and you just chill. Fishing, mining, building a funky base, feeding animals that look like someone else's fever dream, or just flying from planet to planet, system to system, enjoying the procedural weirdness of it all. The game gives you space, literal and emotional. It doesn't place you at the center of everything. It doesn't make you feel important all the time. It reminds you that you are one explorer lost in a universe where you'll never see even a fraction of what exists. That silence, that void between one discovery and the next, is where curiosity is actually born. Somewhere between 2016 and today, Hello Games stopped making a game and started making a universe. The procedural generation stopped feeling like a system and started feeling like a place. The silence they chose after launch, the same silence people called cowardice, turned out to be the most disciplined thing a studio has ever done. The game they promised in 2016 now exists. It just took until 2026 to get there. 10 years ago, Sean Murray drew a universe on a whiteboard. He promised something that didn't exist in code. And then, Hello Games spent a decade silently, methodically, for free, writing the code to match the promise. No Man's Sky is no longer a story of failure. It is the most impressive redemption arc in video game history. I bought No Man's Sky in 2022 with a plan to refund it if it didn't stick. But here we are 4 years later, and I've played every update and expedition since the Waypoint update released. I've been the mayor of settlements, I've built bases on the ground, in caves and underwater, I've explored so many planets I've lost count, and the entire time, I have never once worried that the game would run out of things to show me. The 10th anniversary isn't just a celebration, it's a proof of concept. That a studio willing to stay quiet, ignore the noise, and keep building can outrun the worst launch in gaming history. Hello Games overpromised and underdelivered, and then they spent 10 years of free updates turning an underdelivery into an overdelivery. And now, the big question. Should you play No Man's Sky in 2026 and beyond? Yes, absolutely, without a doubt. Whether you're new, whether you're burned in 2016, whether you're returning after years away, there has never been a better moment to find out what this game actually became. And before you get into your ship, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more in this format, hit the like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. That will tell me you resonated with this video. Now, fly up into space, and from there, whatever the galaxy map takes you, traveler, see you out there.